Hello and welcome to this module on democracy and elections, linkages and challenges. As we all know, democracy is the form of government in which people elect their own rulers, and therefore it is a system of governance where people rule directly through their elected representatives. It is therefore very vital that the elections which are conducted in any democracy are conducted in a manner that is free and fair. There is utmost transparency, and people should be able to exercise their choices in absolutely fair manner. Free and fair elections, therefore, are the cornerstone of any effective and efficient democracy. What is an election? An election is an arrangement of a citizen to choose their representatives. It includes a whole series of procedures which are very clearly laid out, through which people elect their representatives. It is also a formal decision-making process in which a population chooses an individual who ultimately represents a public office. And therefore, the choice of the candidate is very vital in making the institutions function very, very effectively in any democracy. Elections in India have been the usual mechanisms through which democracy has operated effectively in the country since independence, but also when we look at the historical context, they have been the normal mode through which people's popular choices have been reflected periodically ever since the 17th century, when the modern representative democracy came into existence. When we look at a country of the size of India, with its huge diversity, with its huge population, the manner in which we conduct our elections becomes very vital and central to the functioning of our own democracy. And therefore, the nature and levels at which the elections take place are very, very important to be highlighted. When we look at the various types of elections which have been there in India, we can categorize them under general elections, midterm elections, and the various by-elections that take place for various seats. So many of these elections can be labeled as under the elections for the members of the parliament in Lok Sabha, the election to the members of the state legislative assemblies, members of the parliament in Rajya Sabha, members of the state legislative councils, members in village panchayats or city corporation councils, and the various by-elections which are held in various constituencies where a person has died, either he has resigned or he has been disqualified for certain reasons. Now, given the size and enormity of elections in India, it's all the more important that at each and every stage of elections, as it happens in the following manner as it has been listed out, due procedures have to be followed. Whether we are talking about elections to the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, the state legislative assemblies, or the local level councils, because it is these elections which ultimately go a long way in establishing the credibility of the democracy, and it enhances India's own credentials as a democratic country. For the conduct of Elections. The Election Commission of India is the premier national body which has been entrusted with the task of the conduct of elections. The Commission is an autonomous, constitutionally established federal body which is responsible for administering all the electoral processes in the Republic of India. And therefore, the manner in which Election Commission of India works actually sets the benchmark for all the other levels of electoral institutions and processes that are to be in place in the country. And that's why the role of the Election Commission becomes very, very important in the conduct of elections. Under the supervision of the Commission, free and fair elections have been held in India at regular intervals as per the fundamental principles which have been enshrined in the Constitution. And therefore, it would not be wrong for us to say that constitutional democracy in India has direct linkages with electoral democracy. Both work hand in hand. For the conduct of smooth and fair elections, it's very important that the electoral procedures are laid down very, very clearly. Only if there are electoral procedures which are laid down in a very clear and transparent manner, the possibility of elections being conducted in a manner which are considered to be fair is possible. Therefore, strong election procedures go a long way in establishing the credibility of the electoral processes. Let us now look at what some of these basic fundamental procedures are, which will be highlighted in much greater detail in the modules that will follow. The candidates are required to file their nomination papers with the Election Commission. Thereafter, a list of candidates is published. During the elections, no party is allowed to use the government resources for campaigning because it could lead to the use of undue influence on part of the political parties. No party is allowed to bribe the candidates before the elections. The government cannot start a project during the election period. The campaigning ends by 6 p.m. 2 days before the polling day. The polling is held between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. The collector of each district, also known as the district magistrate, is in charge of the polling. The government employees are employed as poll officers at the polling stations, and as it is quite prevalent now, the EVMs, also known as the electronic voting machines, are being used across India instead of ballot boxes, primarily to ensure efficiency in voting and to prevent electoral frauds. After the citizen votes, his or her left index finger is marked with an indelible ink. And then this is followed extensively by certain rigorous procedures which lead up to the counting and eventual declaration of results, which is something again will be mentioned in detail in the modules that follow. The graph now shown to you shows the diversity and the frequency in terms of the number of times the general elections have been held in India. So, as we know, we have had elections in India to the parliament starting as early as in 1951, 1952, which were the first Lok Sabha elections, to 2019, which saw the 17th Lok Sabha elections. Now, these 17 Lok Sabha elections across a span of last 70 years has seen the countries evolve as a mature electoral democracy. On the right side, when you look at the slide, you see the manner in which different political parties and different political permutations, along with voting shares, have been represented alongside the diversity of this electoral process which has been there. Also, a very interesting trend which has been witnessed in the recent years has been more and more people have been coming out to vote. And if you have a larger voting percentage, larger number of people coming out and voting year after year, that only goes towards establishing the fact that people's faith in democracy is increasing. And in that sense, if India today can claim its place in the Committee of Nations as a vibrant democracy, these elections have played a very, very vital role in establishing our credentials as a vibrant democracy. This does not mean that elections in a country like India do not face challenges. Given the huge size of the country, given the diversity that exists, given the various conflicting interests that exist across the society and across the various political formations, it's quite natural for one to see a situation where there are conflicting claims and clashes erupting, not just between the government and the opposition, but also at times the electoral machinery itself. So, from that perspective, what are some of these challenges that are often faced when we talk about the electoral process in India? To begin with, there is a need for maintaining a very, very comprehensive and clear electoral roll. Preparation of electoral roll, which is clean, is very vital because that marks the first step in terms of determining the eligibility of people who actually are eligible to vote. The Election Commission depends on the state government for the preparation and publishing of these electoral rolls. The state government generally deputes the primary school teachers, the local level officers, and other government servants to create the electoral roll. Very often, one of the biggest challenges that is faced during the conduct of elections is the misuse of the official machinery. Very often, the ruling party's possibility of misusing their power and privileges during the conduct of elections is a frequent possibility which needs to be countered. One also sees voting happening in India on the basis of caste and religious lines. And there are a large number of voters who often vote on the basis of caste and religion. Political parties, while fielding their candidates, also have these considerations in mind, and the voters in their constituencies belonging to a particular caste or religion often becomes a major factor in the determination of these candidates. This does not mean that caste and religious considerations per se are bad, but if a party or an individual uses caste or religious lines to polarize people and to create an environment of tension and conflict in which free and fair elections cannot be held, this becomes one of the biggest challenges before the election authorities. Many a times, because of the power and patronage which is there at the disposal of the ruling party, it tries to influence the election machinery in its favor. It tries to operate from a position of strength, and therefore the electoral authorities try their best to control the misuse of power. Many a times, absence of voters is also an element which emerges as a major challenge because large numbers of voters at times do not vote. It's also quite possible that many of these voters have actually moved out from their original constituencies. So, from that perspective, tracing the missing voters is one of the biggest challenges. And as mentioned earlier, use of muscle power and criminalization of politics is one of the biggest challenges which our electoral system continues to face in the contemporary context. Very often, there is also a delay in deciding of the election petitions. Vested interests, irrespective of the political party which they may belong to, often create an environment in which speedy adjudication of electoral disputes is not done. So, from that perspective, maintaining law and order during the election process becomes a very, very vital component that has to be taken care of by the election agencies. Now, though the electoral law does provide for a speedy disposal of election petitions and their decisions within 6 months, there often are instances of delay in final decisions. So, from that perspective, electoral machinery in a country like India does face lots of challenges. What are the steps to overcome them? And in that direction, one should acknowledge and appreciate the fact that the Election Commission of India has been undertaking a number of steps. The electoral literacy is very, very important component of the election process. Only an informed voter, a voter who knows what its electoral rights are and how he has to exercise them, makes for a strong democracy. And therefore, in this direction, the SWEEP program, the Systematic Voters Education program of the Election Commission in India, has played a very vital role in creating voters' awareness, whether it is with regard to his registration process, his motivation to vote, the kind of procedures that he has to follow during the election process, and how he is supposed to report any mismanagement, if at all it comes to his notice. All these have been very, very vital parts of the systematic voter education program of the Election Commission, and it has proved to be very, very successful, not only in raising voters' awareness, but also in increasing voters' participation. The Election Commission also has strived very, very hard to create a free and fair electoral machinery, which operates fairly independently and autonomously from any political interference at the time of conduct of elections, in a manner that actually has won praise from a large number of international bodies. And therefore, we are proud to say that the electoral process in India, as conducted by the Election Commission, has become a benchmark for many other commissions to follow. It's also very important that to overcome the deficiencies and limitations that exist in the electoral process, a very quick and effective grievance redressal mechanism has to be put in place. And the Commission has been taking steps in that direction. And last but not the least, one has to have an increasing conviction of the voters in electoral democracy itself. Democracies in countries like India may have their own complications, but then an ordinary citizen must have the confidence that it is only democracy exercised through a free and fair electoral process that will ultimately provide the solutions to the problems that we face. And therefore, raising the conviction, confidence of the citizens in democracy itself is a very, very important task. And the electoral machinery plays a very, very vital role in that direction. Thank you.